Hey there, welcome back to Rush Hour Reads, the podcast where we break down some of the best self-help and personal development books to fit into your busy schedule. Today, we're diving into a classic book that has transformed the way people understand relationships and love, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Whether you're single, in a relationship, or married for decades, this episode is for you. Understanding love languages can revolutionize the way you communicate and connect with the people you care about most. So, buckle up as we explore the 5 ways we give and receive love, and how understanding them can change your relationships for the better. Published in 1992, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman is a game changer in relationship psychology. Chapman is a marriage counselor who discovered through years of working with couples that people express and experience love in 5 distinct ways, or as he calls them, love languages. What makes this book so powerful is its simplicity. Chapman's core argument is that if we can learn our partner's or even our own primary love language, we can communicate love more effectively, even if we think we're already doing so. The 5 love languages that Chapman identifies are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, physical touch. Chapman argues that everyone has a primary love language, and by learning to speak our partner's language, we can fill what he calls their love tank, the emotional reservoir that keeps relationships healthy and fulfilling. Let us take a better look at what Chapman has to say. Number 1. Words of affirmation. The first love language is words of affirmation. This one's all about verbal expressions of love. People whose primary love language is words of affirmation feel most loved when they hear compliments, words of appreciation, or verbal encouragement. Simple phrases like, "I love you," "You mean the world to me," or "I appreciate everything you do" can go a long way in filling their love tank. It's not just about saying, "I love you," though. It's also about noticing and acknowledging the small things, whether it's a job well done at work or something sweet they did at home. The key here is sincerity. If words of affirmation is your partner's love language, making time for meaningful, heartfelt conversations can truly strengthen your bond. Number 2, acts of service. Next up, we have acts of service. This love language centers on doing things that help your partner. People who feel love through acts of service appreciate it when their partner goes out of their way to make their life easier. This could be as simple as doing the dishes, cooking a meal, or helping with a task that lightens their load. For someone whose love language is acts of service, actions speak louder than words. It's not about grand gestures. It's about thoughtful, practical efforts that show you care. If your partner values acts of service, ask yourself, what can I do today to make their day better? Number 3, receiving gifts. The third love language is receiving gifts. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that someone is materialistic. For people whose love language is receiving gifts, it's not about the monetary value of the gift. It's the thought and effort behind it. A thoughtful gift, big or small, can make them feel cherished and loved. It's the symbolism of the gift that matters. A handwritten note, a flower picked on the way home, or something that shows you were thinking of them can have a huge impact. If this is your partner's love language, the key is thoughtfulness and personalization, showing that you know what makes them feel special. Number 4, quality time. Moving on to quality time, which is all about giving your undivided attention to the person you love. People whose primary love language is quality time feel most loved when their partner sets aside time to be fully present, whether that's through deep conversations, shared activities, or just spending time together without distractions. In today's fast-paced world, where we're often glued to our phones, spending uninterrupted time with your partner can be incredibly powerful. It doesn't have to be extravagant. Just taking a walk together, having a cup of coffee, or simply sitting down to talk without distractions can do wonders for someone whose love language is quality time. Number 5, physical touch. Finally, we have physical touch. This love language revolves around physical affection, whether that's holding hands, hugs, or a simple pat on the back. For people who value physical touch, these small gestures are a way to feel connected and loved. Physical touch doesn't always have to be intimate. Sometimes, it's the smallest touches, like a hand on the shoulder, a hug after a long day, or even a comforting pat, that communicate love in the most profound way. If this is your partner's love language, small, frequent touches can help maintain a deep emotional bond. So now, how can we apply the 5 love languages in our daily lives, especially if we're commuting or constantly on the go? First, identify your love language and that of your partner, friends, or family members. Chapman offers a quiz in the book that can help pinpoint your primary love language. Once you know each other's love language, make a conscious effort to speak that language. Here are a few practical tips. If your partner values words of affirmation, send them an encouraging text during the day or compliment them in person. If they prefer acts of service, do something unexpected like packing their lunch or handling a household chore they dislike. For receiving gifts, leave them a thoughtful note or small token of appreciation. If they value quality time, set aside time for a quick phone call or plan a weekend activity. Finally, for physical touch, offer a warm hug or a kiss when you meet after work, even if it's just for a moment. You should also know that love languages aren't just for romantic relationships. Think about it. We express love and appreciation in different ways to everyone in our lives, from family to close friends. How often do you give your parents a hug or thank a friend with kind words? Love languages can be applied to all kinds of relationships, making them relatable no matter your stage in life. For instance, do you have a friend who lights up when you give them thoughtful gifts or a sibling who thrives on quality time? Understanding their love language can deepen your connection with them too. We often assume that the way we give love is how others want to receive it, but that's not always the case. This concept really resonates with people because it's all about making the effort to show love in a way that truly matters to the other person. If you're in a long-distance relationship or have ever been in one, you know how challenging it can be to stay connected emotionally. This is where knowing your partner's love language is a game changer. For example, if your partner's love language is words of affirmation, sending them thoughtful texts, voice messages, or even letters can keep the emotional connection alive despite the physical distance. If their love language is quality time, planning regular video calls or virtual date nights can help bridge the gap and make them feel loved. It's all about getting creative, showing love in ways that resonate, even when you can't be physically present. So, whether it's sending small gifts, planning virtual hangouts, or just making the effort to communicate affection through words, knowing your partner's love language is key to making a long-distance relationship work. To wrap things up, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman is a powerful reminder that love is more than just words or gestures. It's about understanding how to make the people around you feel truly loved and appreciated. By learning to speak each other's love languages, you can fill up those emotional tanks and create more meaningful, fulfilling relationships. What's your love language? Have you tried speaking to your partner about love language yet? If not, give it a go. It might just transform the way you connect with the people you care about. Thank you for tuning into Rush Hour Reads. I hope you found this episode on the 5 love languages insightful. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to explore more great reads, don't forget to hit that follow button on Spotify so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep reading, keep growing, and keep building those strong relationships. See you next time on Rush Hour Reads.